The fire is so intense that it does not respond in the traditional ways that we've seen fire in the past. The smoke detectors, they may not save your life with this type of fire. This fire goes from 0 to 100 in a second. The smoke detector generally indicates a small fire that will eventually grow into a big fire. This fire is a tremendous, intense fire immediately.
Welcome to Tech Speak, a mini episode of the Technologically Speaking podcast. I'm Dave, sound editor for S&T. In October, we joined the U.S. Fire Administration and the Fire Department of the City of New York at a workshop at the FDNY Training Academy on Randall's Island to address best practices and research needs for fighting lithium-ion battery fires. At the start, you heard Chief Fire Marshal Daniel Flynn speak about firsthand experiences firefighters are having combating these fires. You'll hear more from him in a bit. First, let's hear more from former U.S. Fire Administrator on the growing scope of the problem.
We've had 3 minutes to escape a fire in anyone's home. It gave you a little bit of time to organize, to evacuate in the lithium-ion battery fire. We had less than 15 seconds. And often these are indicated by not just the thermal runaway, not just the heavy smoke, but the explosive nature of the fires that blow out windows, that burn homes, apartments, and businesses.
Here's Chief Marshal Flynn to tell us more about the special nature of fires caused by lithium-ion batteries and how the FDNY is preparing for battle.
The data that we've collected here in the city shows that the fires actually occur more often while not charging. I have people come up to me and say, I have one in my house, but it's okay because I don't charge it overnight. I said, you have a very false sense of security if you think that's the case. Our marshals, we've developed a lithium-ion battery checklist we require every marshal to complete when they do determine that the fire was caused by a lithium-ion battery.
FDNY Commissioner Robert Tucker explains how other cities can learn from what New York City has experienced.
We're aware that what happens in New York eventually happens in the rest of the country and probably the world. For the last 3 years, the FDNY has led the charge on this issue, and we've seen incredible amounts of fires, injuries, and even deaths caused by these batteries. We've inundated the public with information about best practices for using these batteries. We think education is crucial to helping the city fully understand the risks of these batteries when they're damaged and uncertified or improperly stored or tampered with. A key recommendation that we know brings significant challenges, but it's worth repeating. Charge and store these mobility devices outside when possible. We think our efforts are working, actually. The numbers of structural fires are down, and the number of non-structural fires is up.
S&T Acting Undersecretary Julie Brewer expands on the research gaps the team identified since New York raised the issue and the trajectory forward for the national firefighting community it spurred.
3 years ago, when the FDNY brought this to our attention as a priority, it's obviously something we were tracking in our standards world, but really seeing what was taking place in the loss of life and the threat to our firefighters and the new ways that fires were proliferating, the FDNY was the first one that really saw it as a priority. We did find 3 important facts, and the first was there is a significant gap between battery design and safety. Number 2, there really wasn't a single entity that understood the landscape of what research was going on and where we had the biggest gaps in knowledge. And finally, the current safety work done in this area was very much at the time focused on cars. There wasn't a lot of discussion around the scooter environment, around the hoverboards, around what was being stored in the basements of homes.
S&T's National Urban Security Technology Laboratory was instrumental in bringing these key players together, and the National Lab continues to work with the FDNY and U.S. Fire Administration on solutions. Here's Division Director Orly Amir speaking to critical areas of R&D that are already underway.
There's a lot to understand in terms of the health and safety impacts for first responders. So understanding what the off gases are, understanding what that means on PPE, on their gear, understanding what that means to their communities that they work for, that they support. And so the idea is S&T's goal is always to do the research, do the science, so that you allow first responders to be able to make good tactical decisions based off of sound research. FDNY came directly to us and said, we're concerned about this hazard. What do you know? And realistically, we didn't know anything. And so we started saying, okay, let's look into this. And so we conducted like a landscape analysis where we talked to a lot of federal agencies, national labs, nonprofits, research organizations, academia, and say, what are you doing in this space? There was a lot that was happening on the electric vehicle side, but there wasn't a lot happening in other types of problem areas. Over the last 3 years, I think that has significantly changed.
Finally, we'll leave you with some final thoughts from Julie Brewer on why S&T will prioritize supporting first responders moving forward.
These lithium battery fires are just becoming a part of who we are and a significant energy source for us that's important for carbon reduction. Knowing that this is going to continue to grow and continue to be a challenge, that we can learn from what the Fire Department of New York and other firefighters have seen across the U.S. to hopefully help the entire firefighter community going forward is what I'm excited about.
We know that this issue continues to spark a lot of interest, and S&T is hot on the case. Thanks for listening, and be sure to follow us at DHS SciTech, DHS SCITECH. Bye.